Welcome to Student Expert Sessions. The presentation will begin shortly.
Welcome everyone, this is Dr. Laura Munoz, and here we are again with another expert session for students. Today I have the talented Kiki Gao, who is a senior tax accountant for Southwest Airlines, and she's here today to talk to us about her accounting field. Hello, Kiki.
Hi, Dr. Munoz. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course, it's our pleasure. So Kiki, let's start with the basics. Please tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. I am a senior tax accountant here at Southwest Airlines, about to celebrate my 10th year. But prior to that, I was actually born in China, and then I moved to Mexico City when I was 4. My parents decided to move there, and then I did my schooling there, and then for college, I came to the US. I went to Baylor, got a degree in accounting, and then moved to Dallas. Went to the University of Dallas and got my MBA there in accounting and supply chain. So it has been just, I feel like I've been grabbing little memories and little things from different cultures and finally found somewhere where I can call home, and it's Dallas as of right now.
That is excellent. We certainly love having you here in Dallas. So tell me, how did you get started in accounting?
It's a funny story because I always thought I wanted to be a physician, like my parents, but I would always cry when something would happen to someone. I was just too sensitive. I was not going to be a good doctor. So I went to Baylor and I actually enrolled as pre-med. And then before I started, I was like, you know what? I don't think anyone wants a doctor that just cries. So I went through the program and I was like, you know what? Fashion merchandising sounds great. So I went with that. And then throughout my first 2 years at school, I realized, okay, whenever I talk to people that work in the field, they're like, you know what, you should get like something that has more foundation to it. So I had the really great opportunity to intern in this tiny little studio in Florence, Italy, when I was studying abroad. And they're like, yeah, like we are architects, we have a finance degree, and we're still ended up in the industry that we liked. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. And I was just like, okay, accounting was one of the top majors at the school that they were offering in the business field. So I started it and it was hard. It was very hard. But then as soon as it clicked, I was like, okay, this is what I want to continue studying. Granted, I just want y'all to know that whatever it is that you're studying right now, don't think that you have to do it for your whole life, because you're just learning the basics. So at that point in time, I was like, I'm going to concentrate in accounting. And that's how I ended up in accounting. And now I love it because you can use it in so many ways.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit then, what do you do in your day-to-day activities? What do you do as part of that?
Absolutely. So I am a tax accountant, and in my little team, we are the audits and special projects team. What that means is, as a company, you can be audited by the IRS. So you have all the federal audits. You can be audited by states, and you can be audited by some international jurisdictions, depending on where the company that you work at does business with. So my day-to-day, we have our monthly compliance items. So any tax returns that are international, our team handles. So those are the monthly things that have to be done by certain dates. On top of that, if we have an auditor come in, they might request information and have questions about our income tax return, about specific state returns. And they will come and let us know, hey, per our law, we believe this is what's supposed to happen. But then we let them know, this is what we think it's supposed to happen based on your law. So I don't have a day where it looks the same. And because those special projects keeps us it gives us a variety of things to work on. And if the company wants to pursue something special, like, hey, we want to run X, Y, and Z projects in this country, what are the tax implications? So little projects like that keeps us just on our toes every day.
That actually sounds very exciting and interesting. So then how would you explain about the importance of accounting to somebody who asks, why accounting? Why do we need it?
The way that I see it is accounting is a great foundation. Now, you cannot go wrong with anything that you choose to study, because I feel like you're building your strengths, you're building your knowledge foundation, because everything can be taught. Accounting, it's a little bit more technical. It can be very, very technical. So it builds a really strong foundation to understand the business in numbers. Okay. So I think it's a very big misconception that people that are accountants are very good at math, because sometimes I cannot do math, but I have Excel. So Excel holds the world's financial statements. And as long as you know how to use the proper tools and you have the analytical skills, you will excel at accounting.
Okay, so now talking about the other side of the coin, right? We were talking about analytical skills. How about, for example, what is your take on learning about emotional intelligence, having a growth mindset, etc.?
I love that question, because one of the things that I've learned working at Southwest is that they really appreciate you as a person. That means they want to know what your strengths are. So we have to take the Gallup-Clifton strengths test. Like, everyone in the organization has to take it, because we're a strengths-based organization. And what that means is that it'll show you your, I think it's 34, don't quote me on that, it's 30 something sheets, but they give you your top 5 as well as everything else. Doesn't mean that you don't have it. It just means that the top 5 are the ones that naturally show up on you. And it's so important to know that, because, and I'll illustrate it with an example. So my top 3 strengths are positivity, maximizer, and strategic. What that means is, if you come to me with a problem, and this is before I knew that these were my strengths, if you came to me with a problem, I will bombard you with just a ton of information, a ton of ways to solve the problems. And you might have not wanted that, but that was my natural strengths to, oh, let's strategize, let's maximize this, and let's go step by step on what you're gonna do, and let's go ahead and do it right now. And it's gonna work out, because I'm very positive. Well, what I've learned is that when some people come to you with issues, it's because, one, they just want you to listen. They just want an ear. They might not want you to tell them everything that they should do in order to solve the issue. And 2, their reasoning might not catch up with my word vomit per se, because my brain is going zigzag back and forth, and it's like a huge labyrinth. And they might just want to know, give me the top 3 things that I need to know, and that's it, let's move on. And that's something that's so enlightening to me, because then I know how to effectively communicate with people depending on what their strengths are versus mine. And I can know how to control my blind sides. So I think emotional intelligence is not just for the professional work, but also for your personal world. So it's something that, because it's you, it's what naturally comes out of you whenever something happens.
And it is so important to know it. Absolutely. Now tell me, what do you say to somebody that says, but you are an accountant and do not see customers? What do you say to that? Like, about the growth mindset and emotional intelligence?
Yeah. So the way that we see it, we call our customers, we have external customers. Of course, my external customer is not the passenger, right? Not directly, at least. My external customer are our auditors, because they are getting something from Southwest Airlines. So I am representing Southwest Airlines in all the interactions that happen. So whoever it is that you work outside of your organization, that is your external customer, regardless of what it is that you do. And we also have our internal customers, which are the people that work in Southwest Airlines. So we don't have a customer per se in the sense of a like merchandising customer, like purchasing customer in that sense. But in accounting, we have those types of customers, because in accounting, you're trying to get information from different departments. So you need that relationship. And that's part of my career that I just love. You get to build so many relationships in different departments, and just learning about what they do and explaining to them why you need certain things from them.
Okay. So now let me ask you then, following up with accounting, going back to it, then why taxes? Why is that interesting to you?
To tell you the truth, I'd be happy to do any job here at Southwest. It just happened that I ended up in tax because of what I studied. But what I do love about tax is that it changes constantly. And that keeps your mind just you're always searching for new information, right? The legislations are always changing. And the other part that I love is that if your organization wants to do something new, any project that they want to do, chances are there are tax implications. So in the tax department, you're not only trying to see what's the best planning strategy that we can have to save money for the company, but also for all these different initiatives that they're trying to do, what are the tax implications? And depending on which jurisdiction that you work with, you also learn how different states work, how different countries work, which I find fascinating because working with the IRS is not the same as working with the Dominican Republic or the Mexican government.
Absolutely. Now, going on that, tell us a little bit about time that you had a difficult situation at work and how did you handle it and what did you learn about yourself?
Yeah. One of the things that I'm working on that I used to struggle with a lot was delegation and asking for help. I think at least what I've seen coming out of school, we have this mindset of try to do everything yourself, like in order to give them a good impression. Work as hard as you can and like don't ask for help. So that's what I did a couple of times where I just spent way too much time trying to solve an issue that I could have just asked a superior or asked someone that they could have helped me easily. But because I thought that I had to solve it, it really, it was very close to a deadline. And whenever you're working in a industry where deadlines, they mark my world, it's a little bit more sensitive. So what that taught me is, my leader, she explained to me, hey, you can ask for help anytime. And the great thing that I learned also is that you're allowed to make mistakes, because that's how I learned. That's how I learned that was one of the things that I had to work on. If they didn't give me a safe space to make that mistake, to make that risk, then I think it would have been a different story.
Absolutely. How important it is that we all feel safe and like you said, there's a culture to support you and that failure is welcome and to ask for help is also welcome as well. Yes. Okay, and our last question. So what advice do you have for those future professionals who are in college right now?
All right. This is a great question, and I'm going to simple it down to 3 things. Number 1, no matter what you study, you cannot study the wrong thing. You cannot get the wrong major, because I truly, truly believe you go to school to build on your strengths, to build on how it is that you learn, how is it that you relate to people, what happens when you're put in different situations. You're learning about yourself. Of course, you're learning about the material, but to tell you the truth, whenever you go into a company, they will train you to do whatever it is that you're going to do in your position, because every industry is different. I studied accounting. I think I do 1 journal entry a month. That's it. But back in school, if you're right now in accounting, how many journal entries have you done? Probably like infinite. Yes. So please do not stress about getting the right major. Just, of course, it has to be in line with what you like, but I wouldn't think too much about that. And then second, ask for help. Like I said, please ask for help. I feel like as humans, we're here to help each other, to build each other up. And they're here for you and we're here for them. We're not supposed to carry the whole load by ourselves, and we should ask for help. And third, just be humble and let your work speak for itself. Because I'm going to tell you, I think people are more detail oriented than we give them credit for. And sometimes, most of the times, actions speak louder than words. So those are my top 3 things that I wanted to share with y'all.
Wow. Well, Kiki, Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you today, and I'm sure all the future professionals thank you as well.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for reaching out. And again, I'm here to help. If anyone has any questions, honestly, I'm an open door, and I love if people reach out if they just have any questions they might have.
Oh, thank you, Kiki. That's very kind of you. And everyone at Stuken and watching this video, thank you for watching.
Thank y'all.